Happy Sunday, everybody. I got verklempt for a second. I was like, oh, it's live. So, today we're going to be talking about how the housing market is going to be getting a little bit more expensive. That's all we really needed to hear. And I wanted to get your opinions if you think that this is going to be a problem in 2025. If you haven't seen yet, there is a poll there that is asking if you think that homes will go up in price due to the labor shortage. And we're going to be getting into the article. We also have 5 phone calls this week to talk over. I actually haven't heard all of them all the way through, so you guys are going to be listening to them right on the air live with me. First time I'm hearing the question. Hopefully, I can answer those. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and roll that credit. Go ahead, Ed.
Get ready. Kristina's live stream is about to start.
Tiny homes, big dreams, stacking up the cream. Modular escapes, not just what it seems. Lux in a box, making mad streams. Affordable palace fitting in the beams. Kristina on the stream, showing schemes to the team. Tiny living planes, soaring high supremes. Lux in a box, making mad streams. Affordable palace fitting in the beams.
That is a bop, as the kids say. That is a bop. I hope everybody's having a fantastic Sunday. Anybody that is on the TikToks, man, they were in for a roller coaster. Less than 12 hours, it was back on the scene. I know we're talking about housing, but I know a lot of real estate agents were using TikTok, and so they were extremely devastated. I have to tell you, they have an editing program too, and I like that editing program, and that was shut down too. And I was like, oh, that's what I used to put all the captions on the screen for the phone calls. And I wasn't able to do that this week. That's why I wasn't able to listen to them, because I wasn't able to put the captions on. So anyways, well, today we're going to be talking about the labor shortage and what they predict is going to be the result of that labor shortage. We already had a labor shortage to begin with. There is a poll question. I hope they answer it. We had a labor shortage to begin with, and now they are predicting that there's going to be even more of a labor shortage. But don't take it from me. Let's go ahead and get into the article that was talking about it. I never got into TikTok. I like to be this ticky-talky. I'm not gonna lie. If you guys ever want to watch a really old account that I made at the beginning of the pandemic when I was losing my mind, if you go into Karen's Corner, but the Karen is with a K and the last name Corner is with a K, that was me in a wig being ridiculous because I was losing my mind at the beginning of the pandemic. Eddie, it's the Housing Wire video article. If you could go ahead and pull that up. Thank you. All right, here's what Trump presidency is keeping some agents up at night. Some real estate agents are upset. Building material costs, skilled labor supply, and affordable housing options were top of mind issues in a survey of 1,200 real estate pros. The real estate industry went through a lot last year. The word fear plagued the minds of many industry professionals as businesses underwent seismic shifts. As President Donald Trump enters the office next week, these feelings still ring true for a sizable chunk of agents. I will say this, the building supply costs would still have gone up no matter who is president. Just saying. This finding comes from a recent survey by Indiana's based real estate software company Simply. The survey drew responses from 1,200 real estate professionals across the country. They said that it created the survey in response to the growing uncertainty about the future of the United States real estate market and a potential impact of possible policy changes. The survey found that nearly 29% of real estate professionals anticipate more market challenges, volatility in the wake of the Trump administration. Taking control of the White House and controversially remaining 71% forecasted positive growth in changes. You see how they write headlines? they do these headlines just to freak with you, and then they say, oh, but they have a positive outlook on a bunch of stuff. Despite the overall level of optimism, several important familiar obstacles persist in the minds of its respondents. Increased cost of building materials were one of the top concerns featured in the survey. About 60% of respondents were worried about the rising cost to build a home, with a 30% anticipation of significant increases and another 30% forecasting moderate increases. Some respondents thought otherwise, with a 24% expecting no changes and a 16% anticipating cost declines. That 16% has high hopes. They've got high hopes. Building materials typically, they may level off. When we saw the exorbitant prices of lumber, yes, they ended up leveling off, but we never saw the prices back to where they were pre-pandemic. Come on now. So Trump's current proposals for tariffs are likely the factor in this line of thinking. The president-elect intends to impose a 10 or 20% tariff on all foreign imports, alongside even higher tariffs for goods imported from China. And industry analysts note that the consumers will ultimately bear the brunt of those moves. This is true. If the guy isn't even president yet, if it happens, those costs of the tariffs do not go to the other country. They just put those back onto the products that are being imported. And so builders will have to, change the price of the house if, some of the materials go 20% up in price, because now it costs them 20% more. And so in turn, of course, the consumer is going to have to pay that, because they're not going to eat that cost. They have drawn lines. They know what they need to make for the spread, and they're not going to adjust to make less money on a house. Coincidentally, with tariffs concerns, 51% of surveyed agents believe that Trump's policies will turn foreign investors away from the U.S. real estate markets. Is a new concern? Maybe not, since this follows a pre-existing decline in international investments. That is true. The report of the National Association of Realtors found that foreign investment volume in the U.S. existing homes fell 21.2% during the year ending in March 2024. The 54,000 purchased by foreign buyers was the fewest since NAR began tracking its metric in 2009. So they haven't been buying. This is where my concern is. Skilled labor shortages were among of the issues feared by real estate agents, according to the survey. 46% believe that skilled labor shortages will emerge. This concern stems from Trump's plan to seal the border and deport millions of immigrants, many of whom are employed construction labor, according to the National Association of Homebuilders. That's my concern, because we've already had a skilled labor shortage prior to all of this. So if we eliminate people that are skilled laborers that build houses, what happens is, of course, supply, demand. If there isn't enough skilled laborers, the ones that are left are going to demand more money because they have more work. And so what happens? The builders have to get the houses finished. They're going to have to pay more to those laborers. And then, of course, the cost of the house will go up. Interestingly, 34% of respondents believe there will be a minimal effect on skilled labor. I disagree. Another 20% say a pool of skilled laborers will increase as workers from different regions will be motivated. Okay, but I think that's comical. Affordable housing issues are a concern to many respondents. 44% predict that the decline of affordable housing, higher than the other real estate sectors such as commercial, luxury, and mid-range houses. Most respondents attribute to the rising cost of construction costs and reduced government support. But REsimpli also mentions that the current market conditions include higher mortgage rates and home prices as a contributing factor. So if interest rates continue to remain high, we have a labor shortage, and the cost of building a home will become even higher. So let's just say builders actually even hold back building as many houses as they had in the past because they hadn't penciled out for this economic change. So that means even less supply on the market. This could cause a really big issue. Let's see. Options on financing if GSEs go private. Go ahead, Eddie. Scroll. Eddie's going to scroll. Eddie's showing a pie chart. Eddie's going to scroll down. Affordable financing options may also hit, according to respondents in the REsimpli, explained that 28.5% of people expect that securing financing will become much tougher, especially for first-time home buyers, and have a negative take on the privatization of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. That is not even a thing yet. Like this article, they have not said that it was going to be the privatization of. That is just a proposed idea. They have not said they're actually. It's not a thing yet. The U.S. housing market stands at a critical juncture with affordability concerns at historic levels and mortgage rates creating a significant barrier to entry. The report explained it went on a site of the NAR data showing that first-time homebuyers accounted for 24% of all home purchases of July of 2023 and 2024, the lowest since 1981. The presidential inauguration is set for Monday, tomorrow, by the way, if you guys don't know. I want to say this. The privatization of Fannie and Freddie, it was one of the things that was in his plan. It has not happened yet. I personally, and maybe I'm wrong, I want to get your opinion, think that is a terrible idea to privatize those entities. I'm like, I get when people say, "Oh, we gotta pull it back, and there's too many restrictions, blah 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 blah." It applies for a free market, but we've pulled back so many things and privatized so many things. All it did was not just because they said it will create more competition, which as well as I do is horse pucky, because the biggest monopoly piece on the board ends up scooping up all the smaller ones. And then all of a sudden, they're the monopoly. They're the only show in town. So I don't think they should do it. I don't think they should privatize it. I think it's a bad idea. But that's what I think. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments section, and we'll put those up on the screen. At any time, if during this live stream, if you have any questions, make sure you say the word, or type the word, I should say. No, I can't hear you. You got to type it. Type the word question, and I will answer your question in the stream. Of course, super chats get priority. The other thing I wanted to point out is that when it isn't just the labor, it is the material costs. Those costs were predicted to go up in 2025, no matter who the president was. The tariffs puts another little dent in that problem. Little snaggeroonie. But all these things are just words. Nothing has been put into motion. So nobody should be freaking out just yet. Like, we all need to take a deep breath. Everybody likes to write these articles. We all like to have these discussions, but I don't want anybody to fear unless there's something to be afraid of. So I just want to throw that out there because, everything's so like unprecedented timesy. so tired of that. Yep. Hello, Charlton. Hey, King in the City. How are you? Nice flame accent in the thumbnail. Fireworks. BB says hello to everybody. Hello from Denver. It's -2 here. Stay cozy, y'all. Well, I don't know if you guys know this. Here in the state of Louisiana, we are under a emergency, dangerous weather because of the white stuff. Do not get snow here. and there is a 90% chance of snow. So everybody and their mother has freaked out. The grocery stores are wiped out. So want everybody to stay warm. That is for sure. Charlton says, I quit the trades in 2016 because I'm 62. Tired of younger coworkers and bosses saying I'm too slow. So I quit training apprentices in my craft as an electrician. Yeah, I mean, we need more we need more people to know that that is a viable solution, and I don't back in my day when I was in high school, you could get a diploma for, trades. You could actually even take cosmetology in high school. You could take auto mechanics in high school. You could take drafting in high school. You could take plumbing in high school. You could do some electrical stuff in high school. And that diploma carried you over to the trade schools that you would be going to. They would train kids who were not interested in doing a 4-year degree or had no interest in doing it into something that was like a skilled labor. They stopped doing that. I mean, probably soon after I was out of high school, because even when they built the new high school, I didn't see they didn't have anything like that. I don't know why that became something that they didn't want you to do. But now what's going to happen now that if we eliminate skilled laborers due to immigration out of the United States, that's just going to make those people get some nice hefty checks. So Mrs. Melanated says, people don't realize how much California fires will affect the country. That we're going to be talking about that. 'Cause I did hear, I fibbed a little bit. I did hear the first phone call because she was asking about the Ventura fires, because the building supplies, I mean, I think there was only over 15,000 homes that were destroyed. And let's not forget, North Carolina has a slew of houses that were destroyed. And if we, do the little way back machine, when Katrina happened, that's also when the housing bubble was happening as well. So to get building materials at that time was awful. It was awful, and it was expensive for that period of time. That is the kind of thing that we have to put in our minds. It's not going to get cheaper in 2025 unless there's some other economic disaster that causes people to lose their homes, which I do not want to happen. We just need more housing. That home prices will come down by much. So Harley Dude says, with deportation of migrants will free up more food, more building materials, and more housing. How do you figure? Because if you deport migrants and it will free up more food, and let's just be like, I'm just peeling this back a little bit. So during the pandemic, there was a guy who had he hired people that had work visas from Mexico to pick all of the asparagus in his yard. At that time, they had closed all the borders off because of COVID. That whole crop was done. He could not pick it. Matter of fact, he called up people in the community, made some Facebook posts, and say, anybody that wants free asparagus, come and get it, because I can't. There's no way for me to harvest it. There's no way for me to harvest it. So I think you're wrong on that one. Building more building materials, they're still going to cost more because they're being brought in with a tariff, and you have to have somebody build those houses. So if you don't have the skilled labor to build those houses, it's not going to be more housing. That's what I'll say about that. I could be wrong. I love asparagus too.
Talking about over 340 million U.S. People living in the United States, and we're talking about they're estimating about 11 million undocumented in the United States.
I mean, and we're not saying all those people are, I mean, let's be honest, not all those people are skilled laborers. Some of them have businesses. I've sold houses to people that were undocumented immigrants here in the United States that have amazing businesses, and they bought their house with an EIN number and they pay taxes, and they have been lawful citizens here. And now, I mean, they're the ones who pave or that do all the pool stuff here. I mean, I worry for them. What's going to happen to them? Because I mean, the only thing, his wife is documented, he is not. So are they going to separate those families? I mean, that's a whole different story. So anyway, we're not going to get into there. Overdroid says Portugal is looking more attractive by the minute. I always look at it, but Portugal's kind of, they're getting sick of the Americans. I'm going to let you know right now. They're getting tired of the ones that are coming over because they expected it to be United States and it's not. So Construction Crony says immigrants are not the answer to the labor shortage. Fair wages and education is the only answer. Well, you know, the thing is that every builder wants the lowest bid in order to get something done. And even though the contractor they hired is licensed, insured, and everything else, who they subcontract to is in the unknown. You know, sometimes it goes through 3 different subcontractors before you know what's there. But then the builder gets that lowest bid. And that's what happens over and over and over again. Yep. Peter says we don't have a skilled labor shortage. We have a shortage of competition for said labor. Oh, compensation. Sorry, I read that wrong. We have a shortage of compensation for said labor. I won't disagree with that. I will not disagree with that. Nope. We're hoping we were hoping to retire in 7 years, says Love to Cruise Grandpa, into Florida or Hawaii in a condo, but interest rates and combination of fees such as assessments, we will have to stay in our home we built in January 21. Yep. 1,600 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Aging in place is a thing for many, 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 many Americans. And because of the type of homes that we've been building for the last 10, 15 years, there isn't enough small homes. So you're not just building homes for the starter family, you're building homes for people in my opinion, we should have been building homes for people that were wanting to retire as well. So those smaller homes have not been built, and not because of the fault of the builders or the developers, because there's only so much land that you're allowed to develop single family housing on. And they're trying to make as much as they can on the spread for those pieces of property. And to build a smaller home will not pencil out correctly. So they're trying to get the right kind of square footage to meet the market value in the area. And in order to do that, usually it's a much, much bigger. That's why, you know, everybody said, oh, everybody's got a McMansion now. Well, what were they building? They haven't been building little tiny houses. Even during the financial crisis the last time, there was a neighborhood that was built up here. And the smallest house they built was 1,500 square feet. You know, nobody was building 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom houses. You know, that doesn't exist. Eddie and I happen to have a 1-bedroom house, and that thing rents like a crazy. People love them. People love it, but they're just not available. And then people will say, well, it's because we don't have enough land. There are plenty of areas across the United States that have plenty of land. I get if you live in Los Angeles, that is not going to be the case. But here in my little tiny town outside of Baton Rouge, there was plenty of land to build those types of houses. But they don't do it. They haven't done it for a long, long time. Yeah. VT Love says, I agree with Kristina. So tired of unprecedented times. Every time, you know, I scroll the headlines of what happened today. What is it today? What do we need to be scared of today? You know, it's exhausting. Maybe that's by design. So Proud Liberal 24 says it is snowing now in Northern Virginia. Eggs are sold out. I picked up milk. Yeah. Have you ever had powdered milk? Blizzard of, I think it was either 76 or 78. I think it's 78 in Massachusetts. We had a horrific blizzard and there was no milk. And my dad came home with powdered milk, and us 4 kids, dad got it all together. We poured it on We poured it on our cereal. Powdered milk is just not the same. I hate to tell you. So, Harley Dude says, I heard 7.5 inches of snow will blanket the middle of Louisiana. Are you joking? Are you, Eddie, look that up. If if we got 2 inches of snow here, it would be a miracle. Wow. Miss Melanated says, question, when do you think my friend who's an RN will be able to afford a house? I love your show. I have to know what her financial situation is and how much has she saved, what area she lives in. There's a million questions for that to be answered. And maybe your friend needs to look this up too, because there are programs in certain areas, in certain states, and even in certain counties for people that are considered essential workers, like your firemen, your police officers, your nurses, your school teachers. They have different loan programs, so she might actually qualify for that. Sometimes they have grant money to help with down payment assistance. Sometimes they have just find out what they have. She might actually have something in her area. It's very common. Most people don't know to ask. So your bigger banks that do loan originations, they won't know about them. Your local banks in that area will know about those programs that might be available to her. I can't see. My glasses were so filthy. It looks like a horse licked them clean. Oh, the psych nurse. Hello, friend. Hello. They're coming to get me. The psych nurse is coming to get me after this is over with. All right, Eddie. Right after this comment, let's get to the phone calls too. Matt Black says, I feel like the problem is not wage growth. It is inflation due to printing more money and bad trade deals with other countries. It seems everybody wants more money and fail to see how it is backed. Yes. And then the thing is that we're getting priced out. We're getting priced. So many people, if you look at the credit card debt right now, we're in the worst credit card debt that we've ever been in. Most people are spending most of their income on housing. This is the worst it's ever been, that people have been spending as much just to stay in their homes. Then on top of it all, the insurance has gone up. The insurance has gone up on your cars, your homeowner's insurance. Then your taxes have gone up, and then your HOA dues go up, and then the assessments have gone up, and you're squeezing people to death. Something's got to give at some point. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, let's go ahead and go to the first call. It's from Ventura, California, talking about those wildfires. So, Eddie, if you go ahead and put that up on the screen, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
And Christine, I live in Ventura, California. Everyone's talking about Los Angeles. Is anybody talking about those of us in Ventura, California, who are nearby? I'm just trying to figure out how the recent fires are impacting those of us in Ventura, again, a few miles north of the fire lines. Because I have State Farm as an insurance broker, and I'm sure my rates may go up. I'm watching you currently on TV, and you talk about your bad experience. Anyway, this is cute that you have this little bot, and I haven't logged on officially because I'm in my late 50s and don't know how to do that. But thank you for all the advice you offer. Just please try and talk more about how insurance rates affect those of us that have properties that we need the income from, because our tenants don't understand when we raise the rents due to insurances going up. No, good night, Kristina Bott and the real Kristina.
Good night, Kristina Bott and the real Kristina. She was great. I'm over 52, so I get it as well. Here's the thing. When it comes to insurance and insurance companies, they are not typically being forced to hold you as a policyholder, right? So that's the first part of your question. But the state of California has said that they can't drop policyholders at this time. They put a moratorium on it. So you should be okay with that currently. I can't say that State Farm in the future will not drop you as a customer. Every single person, whether you're in a fire zone or not, or even in California, every year when your policy is come to renewal, you should be shopping around because there are other options out there. You're very limited if you live in some areas like Louisiana, Florida, Mississippi, Gulf Coast area. You're going to have limited options, but there's still options out there for you to see what else you can get covered. When it comes to having to raise rents for your tenants, I've always been on the side of I'm honest with them. Eddie and I will go up and say, hey, look, we don't want to raise your rent, but this is what our insurance premiums are costing us now. We have no choice but to raise the rent because this is how much our mortgage is. This is how much we have to make in order to make any repairs to the house. And now that the insurance has gone up, we're going to have to raise it X amount of dollars. We've always been on the side of just be honest with them and then they'll take care of you. That's how we've always done it. I don't know how it really works. I mean, I guess because we're in Louisiana, maybe I don't know. I don't know how people react in different states because culturally it can seem different. But I've just always been on the side of just being honest with them. You make sure in your state there isn't some kind of like you have to give written notice. Make sure you follow all the laws when it comes to that when you do raise their rents. But I mean, you can't help the fact that insurance goes up and you can't help the fact that taxes go up. And if you happen to have a property, a rental property in an HOA, you can't help if that goes up. So, I mean, if you're honest with them and say, hey, here's the breakdown. These are the things that cost us more. We're going to have to raise your rent X amount of dollars. If you can't afford it, let us know. So that way we can make arrangements for you to be able to move out and get your deposit back. Or, like just be honest and see what happens. It's amazing when people start talking to each other, there's a lot less friction, a lot less friction. Anything you want to add to that in the chat, you're more than welcome to. You're more than welcome to.
Would you like me to show you the snowfall?
Yes. In Louisiana? What we're supposed to get? Eddie dipped out. Oh, Eddie's going to play it. Okay. So here he goes. This isn't my area.
North Shore, anywhere from 2 to 5 to maybe even 6 inches as you get north of Bogalusa. 1 to 3 inches of accumulation is what we're predicting right now in the New Orleans area, the river parishes, and then mixed precipitation here very close to the coast. But there you still could have a bit of a measurable snow.
Oh, wow. Look at that, Eddie. This is a very big deal here in Louisiana. You have no idea. We don't get snow. So we could get 4 to 5 inches here, Eddie.
We're looking anywhere between 2 to 5, actually.
2 to 5. I said 4 to 5. What's the difference? What's the difference? 4 to 5, 2 to 5. Mr. Hyper right man. He's going to be more right than me. So, if you guys want to leave a question for the live stream next week, you can talk to the Kristina Angry Bot by calling 888-255-0197. I can't promise you that she won't be rude and try to cut you off as you're talking. Just bull right over her. Just keep talking while she's trying to talk over you. I don't know how to work on her rudeness. She helps me though, because I'm able to put these calls on the screen for you guys with the talking coffee cup. So just call this number, ask your real estate question. Next week, I will answer that real estate question live on the air. That's 888-255-0197. 888-255.
With sarcasm.
Yes, 888-255-0197. Thanks so much. All right, Lexical Gap says, question, with people losing income from TikTok and not able to push their small businesses effectively, do you think that could affect the housing market? People are scared. I don't know if you know this, but TikTok is back online currently. It is, and so is CapCut. That was a 14 hours, I believe, that it went dark. I honestly believed that would really affect not just housing, it would affect a lot of different markets. A lot of these people have used this to supplement their income, whether that was just to pay for their groceries for the month, or it was all the way to pay their mortgage payments for the month. There was I think it's over $24 billion of GDP comes from that specific app. If it had closed down, that was a genuine concern of mine. But here we are, less than 24 hours later, it is back. I don't know if that is a permanent thing. I think this is enough of a scare if you are a creator on that app, is to diversify into other apps, just like here on YouTube. This would be fantastic. If you happen to be a real estate agent and you want to start a YouTube channel because that TikTok scare got in your way, just go to the Real Estate Video Geeks, and my friend Joe Eves and I will teach you how to do YouTube. Give myself a little plug there. I might as well throw it in there. Douglas Law says, proud EW union electrician, and I would suggest join a union and live a better life. Union apprenticeship equals earn as you learn. Graduate in 4 years and make $100K plus healthcare and retirement. I mean, there is programs out there, check them all out. Find out the pros and cons. There are people been doing this for years. If you're looking to be a plumber and you want to know more information on plumbing, and you want or you have kids that want to get into the plumbing, there's a guy on here called Roger Wakefield, and he's huge in the plumbing industry, and he's been helping kids get into the trades for plumbing. So Peggy says, question, do you have a program on Tuesday or any other day than Sunday? Have you scheduled your best modular home? I'm editing the best modular home one right now. That's coming out. It's an edited video. It's not a, it's usually like between 10 to 20 minutes long edited video. Those come out on Tuesday. Every Sunday I do my live stream. So just be on the lookout for Tuesday. I put out a video this past Tuesday. Yep. Keep your water dripping. Watch out for B. Oh, water, probably watch out for pipes exploding. Eddie and I have these tubes that we're wrapping all the pipes. Our pipes are not under our slab. Believe it or not, our pipes are in the attic. I mean, some are under the slab, of course, but the good portion of them are up in the attic. So we're going up there and taking these it looks like pool noodles basically, and covering all of our pipes. We have them on the outside too. Yep. Still going to drip. Still drip. Still going to drip. All right. Charlton says, question, Zillow and Redfin quit doing estimates on the unlisted MLS houses, but still do rental price. What's up? I don't know. I'll have to check that out. Those estimates have gotten them in hot water over the years. The Zestimate, I mean, I don't know how many times I've been sued for that. They always won every single time, but that was a terrible thing. I mean, and having to explain to people, well, I know that's what Zillow says the house is worth, but that's not what your house is worth. I'm sorry, And sometimes it was hard to convince people, but around here, people are pretty understanding, thank goodness. Greg said it. Yep. TikTok is on a 90-day hold. So you have 90 days to get your stuff together. Charlton says, I'm old. My water always drips. My nose does. MH08 says, don't be like Texas. Drip your tap. Yeah. Yeah. I worry about the people that are out of town. I hope they have some friends and family that can drip their faucets. That's for sure. Because it's gonna be like in the 20s. That is very unusual for here. But I couldn't be happier, because we have had a horrendous flea problem here at the Smallhorn house. And we, constantly, there's only so many times you can treat an animal, because then you can get them sick. And we treat the yard and everything. But then when you have neighbors that don't treat their animals, that it's constant problem. So a good, nice, hard freeze is going to kill all those fleas in the yard. And I'm already got all the bottles lined up. I'm treating all the dogs at the same time. So we should be finally under control. Finally. That has nothing to do with real estate. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Peggy says, yes, I ordered a supply of powdered milk, but it's better than nothing. It is better than nothing. It's fine in your tea. In your hot tea, you'll be fine there. At Lee Yarrow says, I was thinking about foregoing even a tiny home and get an RV so I can travel vacant lots to vacant lots. I will tell you this, if you're going to do that, make sure that your RV has an RV certification, and that certification's up to date, because some RV parks will not allow you in there unless you have that certification that you can show them. So just FYI, and I don't know if you know this, but some tiny homes are RV certified. So you can take them from park to park to park. So you would have to have, the a truck and something to tow it with. And if, as long as it's RV certified, you're able to put them in those parks. Just FYI, let you know that. Something interesting. Yep. Miss Melanated said people need to stop looking down on manufactured homes. I concur. Yeah, we are in. Nobody should be looking their nose down at any housing option right now. Not when Wall Street's involved. They have sucked up so much real estate, and they're not stopping. All those articles that came out and said Wall Street's pulling back on buying houses. That's a ruse. They've never stopped. They're not going to stop. They want to own it all. So, I mean, some people say that's a conspiracy theory. I do not. I mean, come on. You know as well as I do. It's not. Anyways, Robin says, same with me. Pipes in the attic. Yep. We do have some more phone calls, Eddie, if you want to go ahead and put the next one up. I believe this one is from David. David is up on the screen, Eddie. Please put him on there.
Meridian, Mississippi. I've been trying to buy a piece of property in Meridian, Mississippi. It's on 9 acres, and it's got a double wide on it, and having very difficult time finding a bank that will loan on the property. And I was just curious as to how I could maybe find some lender that'll lend the money. And also, on that aspect, I'm trying to put 4 acres of it up for maybe a 52-unit tiny home dwelling on that property of 9 acres, and had any advice on that. I do follow you on your tiny homes and see if maybe there's a community of tiny homes that maybe could possibly look into, like investments or investors. Maybe you have some insight on that as well. But yeah, just looking to get financed on this 9 acres piece of property, and hopefully turning the rest of it into about a 42 to 50 ADU tiny home community. Thank you for any advice. I appreciate it.
He said, love your show. That's what Eddie cut it off at the end. Okay, David. So this is what I want you to do. Before you put in any contract for that house, even before you think about lending, find out if that piece of property will allow you to have the 52 or 48 or how many tiny homes on it. Will they allow you to parcel that off to build those houses? That's the first thing. The second thing is, some lenders aren't going to lend it because it does already have a manufactured home on it. And if it's an older manufactured home, they consider that to be a risk. This is what I want you to do, is go to a credit union after you found out if it could have those tiny homes on there. Go to a credit union and tell them, I want to buy this piece of property, but I want to only buy the land. If the manufactured home stays on there, it's going to be sold at zero, no value whatsoever. So basically it's just a structure with no monetary value at all. Most of the local credit unions in the area will give you money on just that because it's just the land. That's what I would tell you to do. As far as anybody I know that has a tiny home development for investing, there is one person I know that's building out some in Oklahoma. I'm not sure if that's something you'd be interested in. Just go ahead and email me. You can go to my website, kristinasmallhorn.com, click on the pink button and fill out your information, and I can get in contact with you and then get you over to that guy to see if he is looking for investors for his tiny home project in Oklahoma. So, all right. Jack says, D-Jack says, question, have you ever been to Algiers? Forget the spelling.
Algiers Point, it's on the West Bank in New Orleans.
Have you been, Eddie?
Most certainly. Every time I have to go through and go to Fed City.
I have not been there.
Fed City is growing, which is right next to Algiers. Great restaurants over in Algiers.
Yeah, I have. Have you taken me there? I've not gone out there. I don't think so.
Nope.
Negative. Yeah. No, I have not. Nope. But I've been to lots of different places all around Louisiana because my daughter was a competitive gymnast, and so we've visited lots of places in Louisiana, lots of them. So that's what I tell you for the tiny homes. We have another call that can come in if we have no questions right now. Go ahead and put up Tracy's call if you could, please. my friend Eduardo.
This is Tracy Gibson. I am in Atlanta, Georgia. I think that the default insurance companies that are out there, and they're creating accounts for people who don't have any more options as far as property insurance is concerned, or homeowners is concerned. I think that they are not there to benefit anybody. I think they were intentionally installed, and it is absolutely usury how they can charge these exorbitant rates and provide so little coverage. I would love to get your thoughts on how that's legal. I would love to know what we as homeowners and also renters, how can we band together and use our collective power to change this system that has us at a huge disadvantage right now, when we are actually the ones that hold the power if we look at it differently.
I agree with you, but it's always getting people on the same page. And insurance companies are going to do what insurance companies do, which their bottom line is to make as much money as possible. There would be a lot of different cogs in the wheel that would need to change the insurance industry as a whole. One of the saddest stories, and you guys, you'll remember on the past live streams, and when we talked about the fires, I said, if you're a renter, to make sure that you get renter's insurance that covers, fires, so that way the contents of that apartment are covered. So a bunch of people in California had taken that advice. They had gotten renter's insurance with fire coverage, but if it was in the small, teeny, tiny print, if it was a wildfire, it was not covered. So they paid those premiums all those years, all that time as a rental, only to find out in the fine print, if it had been an electrical problem, if it had been, a curling iron that had, set something on fire, even, one of those lithium batteries that set them, that would have been covered. But because it was a wildfire, it was not covered. Those people lost everything. It's done for. I don't know how to make our elected officials do what we have voted them in to do. I don't give a flying flip what the letter is behind their name. We elect them. They say they're going to do all this crap, and they never do a darn thing. I find that as a collective, if people withhold their wallets, that is the one thing that nobody likes. Nobody likes. If you withhold the money, nobody likes that. I don't know how to get enough people to do that. Social media is extremely powerful. It's very powerful on all the platforms. If you can get enough people to start making enough noise about one specific issue, and everybody's really hot about the insurance industry right now. Get them while they're hot, because in a couple weeks, you know how things are, out of sight, out of mind. And start making phone calls, get them to sign something that changes some policies in your area when it comes to insurance. That's what I'd tell you to do. It's a hard road. It's a long road, but it can be done. Things do change. MHOH says, question, don't pipes in the attic mean the hot water in the summer? By the way, great name for a band. Our hot water heater is, don't laugh, but it's outside our house. It's outside our house. Our hot water heater is outside the house. We have a tankless hot water heater, and it's run by gas. So it sits on the side of our house. So there's no like fumes. I've seen them in people's garages, those hot water heaters in the garages, which there's gas going in there. When I walk past it, I can smell gas. That would make me very nervous. But here in Louisiana, they just stick them on the back of the house or the side of the house, and they hope nobody tries to steal it. D. Riley says, my city has reclaimed a lot of formerly blighted properties and holds an auction every few months to sell the lots off at a very low price. Paying cash for a lot and building myself is, I can afford it. You know what? There is a YouTube channel. It was just a friend of mine, Melissa. Go ahead and find the YouTube channel, build a house yourself. they will walk you through the steps of building your own home. Another channel here on YouTube, and these people I know, they're not charlatans. They're good people. The other guy is Mike Luckadoo. He's another one that will show you how to build your house yourself. In the last video I put out on Tuesday, I was giving people options that they could get themselves on the property ladder in real estate so that you wouldn't have to pay a corporate investor. And what you're doing is very smart. Those auctions, some days those investors aren't sitting there. Here in Louisiana, we have a group of guys that sit there every freaking week, and they're always bidding. But sometimes they miss it because they took too long at the coffee shop. And that's the day you get the good deal on a chunk of land or a foreclosed property or a repossessed property, those state auctions. So good on you. That's great. Good job. PR said, take care of outdoor animals. Our miniature horse has an electric blanket to prevent the water from freezing, necessary as the temperature is dropping in central Alabama. Yes, everybody bring their dogs that don't belong outside inside. But if you have Alaskan Malamute, let that dog enjoy the day that he deserves, because he will love that day more than anything. He probably won't come inside. Internet Machine says, can you be a squatter in your own home? You know what? I've never thought about it. Can you be a squatter in your own home? I get, like, technically you can. So if you had not paid your mortgage, right, and the house is in foreclosure and they have kicked you out of your home because you haven't paid your bills, and you like break back in and you start living there rent free, mortgage free, then technically I guess you would be considered a squatter, because then the bank would have to get you removed from the house. A lot of these squatters make up these fake lease agreements in order to stay in the house. So I don't know how you would get around that, but yeah, I guess technically you could be a squatter in your own home. Interesting thought. Proud Liberal 24 said, question, do you still see cash buyers in your area? Do you see corporations buying up groups of homes? We still see cash buyers here in North Virginia. I don't work with in an office where I see a lot of transactions going through. I'm an independent agent, so I don't have an office where I see a lot of that going on. With that being said, I can look in the MLS to see how many people are financing in cash. If the house, yes, I still see a lot of still see a lot of financing, but I do still see, which was surprising to me, a good portion of cash. The most surprising was during the pandemic. I didn't know that many people had a bucket of cash sitting on them to buy houses like they did. So yes, I'm still seeing a lot of cash, but I don't see as many in my area, my specific area, corporations buying slates of houses. But with that being said, a lot of the covenants here in the area have gotten wise to what's going on. So the HOAs, when these buildings or houses have been built, the builders have put in the HOA no more than 20% of the subdivision can be considered rental properties, or no more than 20% can be sold to LLCs. So they write that in the covenants, so that way they're sold to individual buyers. So that, I mean, yep. Huskies like it too. Yeah. Alaskan Malamutes, Huskies, St. Bernards. They're like, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Whenever I see a Husky here in Louisiana and it's like the middle of August, I'm like, that poor baby, he's just miserable. But right now he's like, this is fantastic. I have a Welsh Corgi mix. It's a Corgi German Shepherd mix, and she will lay right on that cold tile. Just she loves it. She loves it. Yep. If you haven't yet, and you happen to live in the South, wrap those pipes. If you can't find anything to wrap the pipes with, use towels. Use anything, because like our pipes, most of them are made of some kind of PVC piping. They will crack and snap like that when it gets too cold. We're not used to that here. It's just not something that we're used to. And we all saw the images of what happened in Texas. Don't let that happen to you in your home. So You don't get a badge of honor because your house, flooded or from one of those ice storms. Just go ahead and wrap those pipes up. Doesn't take you that much time. Not that much time. And don't drive in it. Please do not drive in that. Yep. All right, we got we have another phone call. Go ahead, Eddie.
Dallas, Texas. I had a comment on something you were speaking about last week about State Farm, and you was basically saying that someone came out there to look at your roof, and they basically said you do not need a new roof. So I just want to let you know I've worked for State Farm, and I am a claim adjuster. We don't pay for people's roof if they're old. We only pay for two things, and that's hail and wind. And when they probably came out there was possibly no hail hits or damaged shingles caused by wind on the date of the loss. It have to happen on the date of the loss. And that's probably why they told you that there was no damage.
I get what you're saying, but let's if you are like at let me backtrack if you guys weren't here last week. So I was talking about insurance companies. I was talking about when my husband and I were very young. We had babies in the house. We had a hurricane that came through, Hurricane Charlie, that had come through our area and had taken out a bunch of trees and roofs and all sorts of stuff. I didn't know how the whole process worked, and everybody else in the neighborhood called a roofing company to come out and said the roofing company says, yeah, you need a new roof. And then they make the claim with the insurance company. We were young. We didn't know any better. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. So I called the insurance company at the time. It was State Farm, called them up and said, hey, we had this hurricane that came through, everybody in the neighborhood is getting new roofs. Can somebody come out here and check to see if we need a new roof? Because of this damage that had come through our neighborhood. Guy came out and said, I had 5 more years on my roof. He's like, oh, you got at least another 5 years on this roof. That's what he told me. That's what he said. And maybe they have changed their policies since then. I mean, they rewrite those things every single year. But at that time, that guy, he worked for the company. He knew what he was doing. I imagine that you are a very honorable, nice, good person. I'm not saying that, but the guy who came out that day and told 2 kids with 2 small children that they had another 5 years on their roof lied, and he made sure that claim was never put in. It should have been, but whatevs. It came out of our pocket. We got a new roof on it. Yep. So I get what you're saying. I do. You just happen to be one of the good ones. So we have another call that came in from, and I believe this one, I wrote it down as bank fees. All I caught was the bank fees one. If you guys want to leave a phone call next week, stop, Eddie. If you want to make a phone call, phone call next week, go ahead and go dial 888-255-0197, and we will listen to your comments on the show next week. So go ahead, Eddie. I'm sorry. Hit the play button. Hit it.
Paula Moore, state of Prince George's, Maryland. Why are the banks charging so many fees when you're purchasing a new home?
Okay, that's the whole question. Okay, so when it comes to purchasing a brand new home, there's 2 different kinds of contracts. Let me just put it that way. So when you're buying a resold home, but it's new to you, that purchase agreement is going to look completely different than if you're buying a brand new constructed home from a home builder. They have completely different purchase agreements. So those fees that you are being charged may look different for a brand new home. With that being said, your lender who's charging the fees has to give you a breakdown on a sheet that tells you every single thing on what those fees are and how much they are. If you don't like what they say and you think those fees are too high, you can take all that paperwork, walk your little happy butt over to another lender and say, beat this. And then they'll give you the fees, and they say, okay, well, maybe you don't like those numbers. Go ahead and take it to another lender and see if you can get better deal on those fees. You're not required to use the builder's lender. You're not required to. And sometimes they'll incentivize you and say, well, we'll give you like $3,000 in upgrades if you use our lender. Or if you use our lender and title company, we'll give you, some closing costs. Or they incentivize you to use their facilities so that way they make more money. That's how that all works, because they make a lot more money off the loans because it's reoccurring payments that are coming in than they do off the actual house. So I would tell you to shop the fees, even though the number on the front end may look really nice because they're giving you, $5,000 in closing costs. Go to a local credit union or local lender in your area so they can shop those fees and those numbers for you, because you might get a better deal. I always say shop, 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 no matter how much you like them, no matter how nice they are. That's true of your real estate agent too. Like, shop around, see if you can get a better deal. Debbie Brady says there's a difference between free speech and talking smack. I talk some smack sometimes. Yeah, I like talking some smack. So it creates some good conversations. Was someone getting ugly in the chat? I can't see it all the time, and I certainly can't see it if I don't have this. Yep. We got another question that's come up here. So let's go ahead with Shmoosh Star. I like your name. Shmoosh Star. Question: Real Page is in real trouble with the DOJ for keeping rentals artificially high. Talk about how this will affect the rental market. For right now, it hasn't affected the rental market whatsoever. It's happened in several cities. Unfortunately, and everybody could probably attest to this, whenever a large company gets in trouble for something that really did disparage a large amount of people's, it's very rare that they get what's coming to them, right? They might get a fine. They might get a little slap on the wrist, a little like, oh, you can't do that anymore because we're going to put sanctions on you, or some garbage, right? Nothing really happens. I would like to say, and I'm very hopeful that this could help balance out the rental market, because they were colluding with one another. It's obvious that's what they were doing. They were colluding with all the other corporate entities to price fix rental costs. It wasn't a free market. They all said 3-bedroom, 2-bath all over West Chicago is now going to be $1,600. I'm just throwing a number out there. And that's not competition. That is not fair market value. That is them colluding to keep rental prices at that time artificially high. So with that being said, they were even keeping apartments vacant on purpose to keep those rates artificially high, and they all knew they were doing it. I don't know what's going to happen. I wish I had. Here it is, my crystal ball. I wish I could tell you that they're really going to get in trouble, and this is going to make everything all better. But years of that's a mysterious sound. But my years of experience has shown me that things never really change. They get they have to pay a little fine, and then they go back to doing it, but just in a more sneaky way until they're caught again. That's what I'd say. Do we have any more questions, Edward? Yep, we do. Mona says, question: have you ever heard of contacting the buyer after close to get money back from overpaid taxes at closing? Our realtor said to do this. Hold the phone. Hold on. Have you ever heard of contacting the buyer after the close? You're contacting the buyer of your home to get money back from overpaid taxes at closing. A realtor said to do this. Mona, I can honestly tell you, I have never, ever, 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 ever heard this. If there was overpaid taxes, that check goes to whoever it was supposed to go to. Like, I've overpaid at a closing, and then we got like $6,000 back 3 days after closings. We overpaid. at the closing. And then the sellers have overpaid and they got a check from the mortgage company once everything was settled after the wiring was done. I've never heard of that. That's very strange. I want to know what state that's in. Very strange. You're welcome, Schmoosh Star. I like saying your name, Schmoosh Star. Miss Melanated says they're all together, no matter the party, the two sides of the same coin. It's all one party, and it's an illusion of options. That's what it is. They all work for one thing, the mighty dollar. I'm not laughing because it's like funny. I'm laughing because it's like either you laugh or you cry. Coach Stacy says, I had a title company contact me and send me checks back for overpaid taxes in the state of New Jersey. Oh, that's interesting. So, but it went back to the title company. Like the buyer shouldn't be contacting the sellers for that money, right? I've never like here in the state of Louisiana, once those papers are signed, unless there was some fraudulent activity, you walk away from the deal. You never speak to those people ever again. It's in Texas, and overpaid property taxes for the house we sold. Did you have a mortgage at that time, Mona? Oh, contact me. Go to my website. Go to KristinaSmallhorn.com. Hit on one of the pink buttons because I want to talk to you about this. This is very interesting to me. And when I find out the answers, I'll let you guys know on the next live stream. YouTube Unfolded says, I always receive funds back from a mortgage company or for my escrow account. Same here. Exactly the same. Yep. Yes, the title company handled everything. I've never heard of to go through the seller. Me either. Very strange. But I mean, every state handles everything differently. I don't know if New Jersey has this, but some states will have like, you have a title attorney, then you have another attorney that reviews the contracts. Then like say Louisiana, we have the real estate agents and the title, and then that's done. Like everybody goes to the same thing. There's no like separate entities that handle contracts after everything's signed. Like I think it's New Jersey that has lawyers for the sellers, then lawyers for the buyers, and then the lawyers have a discussion after the contract's done. I like every state handles real estate completely different. So, that's why it's always important to work with a real estate agent that's familiar with all the rules and laws and how to do the purchase agreement in that area. Oh, here's our chat question. Our poll question says, do you think the labor shortage will make housing go up? 54% of you said yes. I have the smartest audience. 22% said no, and 24% said they're not sure. Well, you know what? Time will tell. That is for sure. Not being sure is, it makes total sense to me because who knows, man? Again, we're always living in unprecedented times. Proud Liberal 24 says, why do buyers get so worked up about older working mechanical systems and appliances? They're buying used house, but I want everything newer. How do you handle this as a seller? I've had older homes too. So before we sold our house in Florida, I had the air conditioning inspected and I had the hot water heater inspected. I didn't think about the roof because the freaking State Farm said I had 5 more years on the roof. As a matter of fact, when my real estate agent at the time asked me about the roof, I said, I don't have to worry about that because the insurance agent told me I have 5 more years on the roof, which was a big, fat freaking lie. I digress. But a lot of the, because you're supposed to have your air conditioning serviced every year. So I can easily call up my insurance guy my AC guy, come out there and check my air conditioning, and he services that AC every year. So he could write up a little form. I've been servicing this air conditioning for the last 5 years. There's been no problems. These are all the things I've done to it. Then you could have somebody, if you have your plumber, you're supposed to have your hot water heater serviced every year. Same thing. You have that done. Those are the 2 biggest things that most people are worried about. When I represent buyers, I always say to them, if it's cosmetic, we'll write it down, but that's going to be on the bottom of the list. We're really worried about the things that have to do with the function of the home. That is electrical, that is plumbing, and that is, your AC, that kind of stuff. And so we put those at the top of the list, and then those are the important things. Then we put the wants underneath it. It doesn't hurt them to ask. It does not hurt them to ask. But, I would tell any kid that if there's a dishwasher that's sitting there, and that dishwasher was from like 1998 and it's still running, they're like, "Oh, but it's not new." I'd say, "You don't want a new one because it's going to break in a year." Eddie and I have gone through so many dishwashers and those onboard computers. I want a dumb washing machine. I want a dumb dishwasher. I just want to just spit out water. I want no more onboard computers. I think they build stuff now just for it to break. So you have to buy new, which is, it's not really a conspiracy theory. It's probably 100% true. MH08 says, I prefer older appliance. You can fix them. Yep, that's what I'm saying. The refrigerator has no reason to talk to the garbage disposal. Exactly. Yes, we are on the same page. Even my car right now, I don't want a car with Bluetooth. I don't want any car. Like the car I have now has none of that stuff. And every time I get in it, I'm just so tickled pink with my car. That's a dumb car. I'm glad. All I have to do is change the tires. If something goes wrong with it, somebody could actually walk out there. They don't have to connect it to a computer system to figure out what the diagnostics say. Yeah, I don't know. Computers are supposed to make our lives easier. I think we've been scammed. I think we've been scammed. Charlton says that, Christine, do you recommend a house warranty company for the appliance policy? Each state has companies that represent home warranties, right? I happen to be in the state of Louisiana. My favorite home warranty company happens to be Old Republic. That doesn't mean that it's awesome in every single state. I've heard from other real estate agents say, "Oh, Old Republic is terrible in such and such state." But here in the state of Louisiana, of all the home warranty companies, that has hands down been my favorite. And that is a good way. Thank you for bringing that up, Charlton, by the way. That is a good way to appease new home buyers, to say, "Hey, look, if you're worried, I've had no issues with this. If you're worried about the appliances in the house, here's a home warranty. This will cover you up to, for an entire year. If anything goes wrong with the house or goes wrong with those appliances, this will be covered under that home warranty for an entire year." A lot of times that's what we do for people that are unsure. That gives them that peace of mind. It's like in a little insurance policy. Thank you for bringing that up. I slipped to the old brain. V loves SAF. God, VT loves SF says, I have a dumb car too. It just hit 250,000 miles. Mine has like 138,000 miles on it. I'm going to keep it until it dies. Mooch Star says, question, what do you think will happen to NAR in 5 years, i.e. brokers parting ways, NAR restructuring to attract more, adopt more of a no-fee practice? Thanks. Okay, so this is my crystal ball prediction. Woo! I predict some of the more major brands will decide to change, no longer be a part of NAR. I think that some MLSs will also not require agents to be a part of NAR to go ahead and be a part of the MLS. It'll be interesting because there are a lot of agents when all of this went down that were really, really, really upset. And the things that we've been asking for from the National Association of Real Estate Agents, National Association of Realtors, we've asked them for many things for many, 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 many years. And we've been upset about a lot of things over those years as well. Whether that was selling our data to Zillow, various things. I don't know if a lot of people think the juice is worth the squeeze anymore. They're one of the most powerful lobbyists in Washington, but who are they actually lobbying for? Because it doesn't feel like they are for the real estate agents. That's my personal opinion. That's just my personal opinion. Proud Liberal 24 says, what percentage of buyers are getting stuck paying the full buyer's agent compensation at 3%? It's very common. Still to this day, it's very common. It didn't change much. And everybody thought this was going to be a big, giant kick in the pants to real estate agents and the good agents. And not much has changed. Honest to God. for the first few months, it was like chickens with their head cut off because nobody knew what the hell they were doing. But not much has changed. Commissions didn't change that much. D Jack says, next car for me will be a pre-1980s. That's what Eddie says. Eddie says the same thing. AOVO on the farm, Southern Illinois, LD 63. That is one hell of a screen name. It says, we have Kenmore appliances, lasted for decades. We both bought our refrigerator at the beginning of 2020. We have problems with it immediately. Eddie and I hate our refrigerator that's in the kitchen. And speaking of Kenmore, our old refrigerator from our last house was a side-by-side. And it's a Kenmore, and it's in our garage. The only thing, honestly, that's wrong with it is we broke the handle off the front of it, and it's so old that the handle can't be replaced. So we have to like pull it up the top. I even tried to I kind of faked a handle. I'm going to be depressed when we sell this house because I know that particular refrigerator is going to stay in the garage. And it makes me sad because that has been, it's taken a licking and keeps on ticking. That refrigerator is still going.
I'm not sure about that one staying.
What? Yeah, that's going to stay. It's going to have to. I don't think it can travel that far.
Oh, it can.
Kenmore. Hey, and they're not paying me to say anything about Kenmore. I love me some Kenmore appliances. Yep. Maytag washers and dryers used to last 30 years. Now they're lucky to get 7 years out of them. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? That people always used to say, get Whirlpool, it lasts forever. Horse pucky. MH08 says, we ran Lincoln Town Cars that topped 400,000 miles. That is fantastic. An American-made company car that I love more than anything is a Buick. Man, oh man, those things that company, that particular brand, you can keep those cars until they die. Until they die. Can 3D print? You can 3D print a handle. That's a good idea. I don't know anybody that has one of those. And the only time I've ever seen anybody 3D print anything is they're usually making toys or junk. I would love to find somebody that could print me a handle. So everybody, I want to say thank you so much for spending the last hour and 16 minutes with me. It's been more than fun. I've had a great time. We've had lots of phone calls. Hey, next week, if you want to have your real estate question live on the air for next week, go ahead and dial 888-255-0197 and leave a message for the very grumpy, a little rude AI robot, Kristina. It sounds like my voice, but it's not me. She's just answering the phone for me. And then I take those recordings, download them, and you can go ahead and hear your question live on the air, and I will answer your question. Thank you, everybody in the chat. I want to say thank you to the moderators for keeping the chat clean today. I know it's a hard job, but someone's got to do it, and you guys do it for the best price. Loyalty to that was so nice. I don't know how you guys do it, but I appreciate every single one of you.
I want to thank them because today was a little active. So thank you so much.
Oh, did we have some people that were acting out?
It was very active today. So thank you to Debbie Brady and thank you to Lawnmower very, very much. Appreciate you guys.
They just do it for the love of the job, man, and the love of you guys. So I'm excited for next week. I hope to hear from everybody. If there's anything specific you want to talk about next week, just go over to my website and click on the link, the pink link. That is KristinaSmallhorn.com. And we'll have a little discussion on your real estate needs. Look, Eddie's going to put it on the screen. And hey, if you want to share this as a podcast with anybody, you can go to anywhere you listen to podcasts, type in real estate for everyone with Kristina Smallhorn, and you can share this episode tomorrow. Eddie will have it uploaded first thing in the morning so you can share it with your friends. If you want to listen to last week's episode or share that with your friends about insurance, go ahead and you can see it right there. If you don't mind, if you happen to have the app and you want to leave a 5-star review, Eddie asked if you would leave a 5-star review for us. He said that helps in some way, shape, or form. So
also leave a comment. We can respond to it, and it helps the algorithm.
Okay, that's Eddie does the podcast kind of stuff. As you can tell, I don't know anything about that part. I can tell you how to edit a video. I can't do anything else. So, all right, everybody, Eddie, go ahead and roll out that outro. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. So long. Farewell. Hey, it's gonna snow. Keep warm. Oh, and honoring Dr. Martin Luther King tomorrow as well. Yep. Thank you, Eddie. Yep. Go ahead and roll that end screen.
And if you can do something, serve the community tomorrow.
All right, Eddie, roll the end screen. Everybody's already dipping.
Kristina signing off, this dream's about to close. Tiny homes, big dreams, the wisdom she bestows. Real estate queen, always keeping us in toes. Hustle on 1,000, every vibe she shows.